Hello everyone, welcome back to the garage, or hidey hole again. Here we are with my newest rescue. This is a 66 C30 custom camper dually with a fleet side bed on it. I don't know much about this. I'm getting conflicting information on it. Probably the best source of information, which would be 456 here in Kansas City. Tony says GM never made it, but I don't know. You guys tell me. I have seen one other truck like this with that particular fleet side bed and those flares for the dually. And there is an old LMC truck catalog cover that covers a 1966 custom camper dually with a very similar looking bed on it, but I can't tell if it's a metal flare on it or not, because they're painted black. They almost look rubber. Anyway, I pretty much just brought this home just within the last couple of days at the time of this filming. So I don't know anything about it. And I'm gonna pull it out and get it off of the trailer and kind of do a once over on it. There we go. So I got a little spoiler alert before we get too much further into the video here. So a lot of this was recorded before I really did any research on the truck. And on top of that, I'm really kind of new to this generation of truck. I definitely don't know much about the C20s, 30s, 50s, 60s, all that. I'm just kind of starting to get up to speed on all that stuff. This truck was sold to me as a C30. It's a dually truck, obviously. In the video we're going to talk more about that. But I put some information out asking questions yesterday about numbers, basically, on a couple of Facebook pages and got some feedback. Feedback's coming back that that truck doesn't exist. GM never did that. So the next thing that I did was I broke out the old LMC truck catalog. And if you're not familiar, in the front of the catalog, they have a whole area to decode the VIN tags in a given generation of truck for the particular catalog that you're looking at. So when I went in and I decoded the VIN on that truck, it actually comes back as a 3/4 ton truck, not a 1 ton. So I can't tell you much more than that, but just know that when I'm talking in the rest of this video about this being a C30 and a dually, that appears to be some kind of aftermarket conversion. All right, here it is. Kind of got her tucked up here in the shade, hoping we can see a little better. Just wanted to walk around a little bit, show a little bit about the truck. Probably one of the whitest back bumpers I've ever seen in my life. Somebody has put LED tail lights in it. The bed floor is about gone. There's a little piece left right there. You can see that however this was made or done, there was some Bondo in it for sure, and somebody has tried to do a repair on that. The truck it does appear that the body is the original red, but if you look right here, you should be able to see the two colors don't match very well. So at some point, for some reason, the bed has had a fresh coat of paint put on it. But if you look right here, there's an area where this paint's chipping off of here. That red and this red match very well. Between that and this, and just looking at, you know, condition of things, the amount of rust, the way it's rusted here compared to the frame and stuff, I feel like these pieces have been put together for a long time. Maybe they weren't, maybe this bed wasn't factory on a dually truck. Maybe GM never did that, which is what I'm being told. But whenever that was done, I feel like it was a long time ago, and it's been on this truck a long time that way. So it's kind of interesting. The other giveaway that something is up here is this truck has the stainless trim on the sides. That should go down the bed. It does not. So that's another telltale sign that something is amiss. We got our old lady step, I guess. Looks like that's been on the truck a long time. Custom camper badge. It is still running split rims on it, front and rear. Bias ply tires now, they're kind of old. But as far as rust goes, that's pretty much all I'm finding, which is really typical on these. But I've been up under the truck with a pick, and all of this stuff is very solid. The bottoms of the doors are solid. There's nothing, no real rust in there to speak of. It's very nice. The hood's got a little ding there, and a little low spot right here where something's been hit it or been on it. Grill and the front bumper are in really good shape. I don't even think I see any dings in the grill at all. Oh, yep, I do. One little spot right here where this is pushed, and I bet I could clean that up pretty quick. Bumper, little push right there, and a little scar right there from something, but bumper's in really good shape too. The other side, got the same rusty area, and then the driver's door. Damn it if the driver's door didn't get a little, it's damaged. And for those of you that know anything about these trucks, I bet you already know what's going on there. Right there, here's our culprit. Broken. But you can see none of this has been replaced. It's all factory original, in good shape. Everything seems to be in really good shape in here. But there's one little weird spot right here that when I first saw it, I had to ask the guy, are you sure it's never had rockers replaced? This area right here, and you see it just doesn't quite, let me get the camera down here if I can. Just doesn't quite line up right. And I think it just during manufacturing, that just wasn't perfect. But that stuck out in the pictures. What's going on right here? I see the seam sealer in it. But they're even underneath in here. I got in underneath and was poking around. None of that's rusted. There's surface rust through here, but none of that's rusted. So that's really nice. Here, let me get you a little quickie under the door here. Bottoms of the doors are real nice. She's gonna be a good fixer-upper. I looked up here. Bottom of the brow is nice and clean. Top of this, the seal is rotted to hell. Does have aftermarket mirrors on it. Looks like it probably had the original small mirrors. It didn't have the big truck mirrors, just the add-ons at some point. Seat's not quite as nice in this one as was in my 64 when I got it, but still, she's holding in there pretty good. Large gas tank. I'm not even sure if they offered two sizes or what, but the RPO tag says it's a 20 gallon. Roof's all in pretty good shape. It does have the sweep gauges instead of idiot lights, but does not have the additional two side gauges on it, which would be a tack and a vacuum gauge, I think. But it is showing, if you can see that, it's currently showing 49,484 miles on it, and I think that's probably accurate. It just doesn't show a whole heck of a lot like it's got 149,000 miles on it. So here we are up underneath, and some of the stuff that kind of sticks out to me is usually these inner fenders right up here in the front have pretty good amount of rust in them. And let's see, yeah, both sides on this one are very clean. I mean, they got some surface rust, but like those are really nice inner fenders on these. They usually rot right up here in the front, and this one's not. It does have a 292 straight 6. No power steering. This one does not have air conditioning, no power brakes, nothing on it. What it does, how it's had the radiator replaced in it, which is probably a good thing on these old trucks, because they're probably sedimented up pretty bad, or you know, just probably needs to be replaced. The one thing that really stuck out to me as kind of interesting on this truck is it's a C30. So, and you know, a dually on top of that. I would think that most of those trucks were probably 4-speed manual trucks. This one has a power glide in it. There's no indication that any of that has been retrofitted afterwards to me. Everything's correct as far as I know or am aware. Nothing looks like it's been monkeyed with, but it's got a power glide in it. And I just really thought that was interesting. As far as the engine goes, it runs well. Carburetor's been replaced because it's set for a long period of time and was gummed up real bad. I do have the original carburetor for it. It's had some hoses replaced on it and whatnot. It's typical old engine, leaking everything that it possibly can. It's kind of like an old Harley. It's leaving a trail, but it's running very well. You can even still see right there a 514 in the firewall, which is Probably a production marking of some sort. That's in the right area. It's got a Chevrolet script valve cover on that straight six. Nice. So bear with me here. I'm gonna get up underneath the truck and try and show a little bit of it. I don't know how this is gonna go exactly. Here's that spot I was talking about the way the rocker and the cab corner just don't appear to have come together correctly. Either that, or maybe what's happened is something has caught this cab corner at some point and pulled it down. In either case, it's kind of not right there, and with that seam sealer, that white seam sealer stuck out to me. So I really thought something had been changed here, but I really can't find anything. Looking up in here, I do see a little bit of rust in here, but I mean, it's pretty solid. All right, here's the back of the cab on the driver's side. I don't know how that's going to show it here, but this is all pretty solid. It's had that coating on it. It's still got quite a bit of it left, like probably most of it. You can see in the front, that's all pretty solid. Very little rust mitigation that needs to be done on this. Now, let's come up here. This is a pretty typical area. That's where the bottoms of those front fenders are rusted out, and it's this rib that runs down the back in here, right there, that's rusted out. I can stick my finger in there. That's what catches the water and causes the problems. Rest of the floor, hope that comes through a little bit. Pretty clean. Chassis clean. Here's under the passenger side, and that kind of sucks a little bit. They cut the rocker to make room for the step bracket to go in, and it is welded on up here, or to the frame. I am not sure. Let me see here. It's bolted on to the rocker. Not a big deal. But the rockers, they look pretty clean. Cab corner back here, it's all clean. There's the back of the cab. Got a little ding there. The floors, everything under here is looking pretty solid. This will be an easy truck to use for a hot rod build, is actually what this is going to end up being. Life is rough. So here's the inside of the passenger wheel well, the front of the cab, firewall area. And you can see the insides of these inner fender wells, how clean they are. This is going to clean up pretty easy. Well, she's full of oil. That's about the blackest oil I've seen in a long time. Could probably use an oil change. Whoa! There was live mud daubers in there. Interesting thing about the truck, it came with the original owner's guide with a cutout flaw in it. Very interesting. And the original RPO tag that was in the glove box. Said it has a 292 straight 6 ammeter oil gauge, camper special equipment, side trim molding equipment, tinted glass, heavy rear springs, 21-gallon gas tank, heavy duty battery, and power glide transmission. Alright, bear with me. I don't have my suction cup for the camera, so it's actually sitting on the tripod over here on the floor. Let's see if this will start. Start right up. Alright. Here we go. Get out of this yard without tipping the camera over will probably be pretty good for the rest of the ride. It's got a fancy steering wheel in it, but for some reason I feel like it may not be original to this truck. It seems a little bit too silver in color to be the original, what do they call it, fawn that they put in these. And the emblem in the center kind of looks like the badge that's on the sides of some of the front fenders. So maybe it is, I don't know. Can't see anything out of any of these mirrors. They've lost all their reflectiveness except for this center one, which is just filthy. See how she stops. Stops good. No weird sounds. Oil pressure changes as I let off of the gas or give it gas, so that seems to be working. Battery's charging the same. Temperature came up when the truck warmed up earlier. The only thing, no, fuel gauge is moving. Hold this. Fuel gauge is bouncing around like the fuel's sloshing in the tank. Let's go. Oh, let's stop and wait for this guy. Second gear, about 15 mile an hour. Kind of rides like an old truck. Well, here she is. To be honest with you, that'll probably be about the only time I ever even drive it as is. It'll probably stay there until closer to this winter, this fall. I got a project I'm working on at home right now for a customer. And once I get that done and get that truck back to them, I'll probably get ready to take this one down. So, did learn something today on a little drive though. The transmission has a pretty serious leak once you get it warmed up. Yep. There's a whole trail backing it back into the building here. So, but it really doesn't matter. It just doesn't. This was bought to be a project truck, and it'll end up on this C10 short box chassis over here, the cab and the front end will, and you know, as is, I don't think it's got a lot of value to most people, a few, but you know, that's kind of the way the cookie crumbles on some of these old trucks, unfortunately. Originally when I bought this 64, that was what I had in mind for it too. But this truck truly is in spectacular shape, and with the options that are on it and stuff, I really couldn't do that to this one. But this one doesn't have any real spectacular or outstanding options on it. Being a dually truck, I don't know, you know, unless you just left it alone and drove it as is, but even then it just needs a lot of work. Engine's leaking stuff everywhere. Transmission's obviously leaking pretty bad. Couldn't really use the bed as is unless you put a floor in it, which isn't a huge deal, I know. Seals on the windows, if it was, you were to ever get caught in the rain on it, I mean, I could see daylight. I could see daylight below the bottom of the windshield, between the windshield and this rubber gasket in here. It's just, you know, it's an old truck. So I'm gonna give it new life my way, and I'm gonna build a truck that will be very nice. So for those of you who are probably like, oh, you can't tear that old truck apart, I'm sorry, man, but I promise I'm gonna do something good with it. So I appreciate you guys watching the video today, and like and subscribe, please. I sure would appreciate it. And next time you see this truck, we'll be taking her apart. Take care. Dog, come on, let's go.